and to help them to gather that spark again. And so for me, when I'm sitting down with folks and helping them to, whether it's in content, whether it's branding, whether it's video editing, because I do that stuff, I do that as well, is to help them to go back to why, the why in which you do it, and so if
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan. I know that you are watching me now for a live broadcast of the Logan Power Show. Don't even think about getting off this episode here, because I guarantee the guy that's bringing onto the show is vibrant, energetic, and wants to make you understand why he's here in the Logan Power Show. He is here, returning guest. He's excited, talks about what he's got with his company, building his brand. The founder of Affirm Creatives, the one and only Mr. Kenneth Graham. What's going on, Mr. Graham?
what's going on, brother? I appreciate you for having me on, man. Again, you gotta excuse me, brother. I'm just en route, but I'm in. I'm locked in. I'm zoned in, brother.
Got it. I'm glad you liked it and zoned in. You've done some great things, getting involved with the youth, definitely focusing on family. You made the launch February this year. Affirm Creatives. Tell people about
Yeah,
what you've created, and tell us about how we came with that idea.
yeah. So I always go back to elementary school, man. We always had this term said that you can do anything you put your mind to, you believe, you can achieve. And one of the teachers that I used to teach me, her name was Mrs. White. And she would always have this thing where before she taught like her lessons for the class, she would give out motivational talks. And I would be so inspired, so empowered, you know what I'm saying? And then once we got through that, so I would want to do the classwork, And this was something unlike what I had done before, man. Had went through before, because any other class I went to, they just taught the lesson, but I never was just taught like uh was just motivated and anything before we got the lesson taught. And then, one thing she would say, is you can create anything you want, you can do anything you want. And that's the story behind, why I created the company, man, because, the title itself, affirm, you know what I mean? I want to affirm, other creatives who are in this creative space, man, to affirm them that your creative abilities, even though they're unique, they are needed in this world, and to affirm that, you know, you, what you do doesn't have to be like what I do. You know what I'm saying? And we can get on this journey together to impact. And so that's just a story behind why I came up with the name of Firm Creatives, and it's just been amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I just absolutely amazing process. My wife, I told my wife about the process, man. She was smiling ear to ear, and I'm just grateful, man. And part of what we do with the Firm Creatives is we help individuals and businesses to increase their online social media presence, via authenticity, creativity, development, and content creation, man. And so we just want to help people to be authentic in their own creative abilities.
Absolutely. So, like, in making that particular brand, so like a brand ambassador, and making sure that people understand their full potential, and you're sort of pulling out those things that they need to have, so you make them a sort of a propelling them to their brand
Absolutely.
to where it needs to be. Uh, what is it, sort of the I guess the sort of like sort of the actual classes of the process? Like, if someone were to come to you and say, like, hey, listen, Kenneth, I got I want to sell this positive juice. And this
Yep.
juice that I have is going now to revolutionize the calcium in the people's bloodstream, their body, but also is going to give them not only the vitamin C, but the vitamin D they're going to need, plus vitamin A. This is a revolutionized way we're going to drink orange juice.
Oh,
Tell
no
me,
doubt. So,
tell me how would you make that happen?
yep. So, no doubt. So, from a content creation perspective, um, I would one sit down with them, have like a consultation call with them, and then from there, I'll be able to um, share with them what like some ideas of what it is they can do. And so with that, I was already just thinking as you was just sharing that example, man. I'm just thinking about, you know, people who can start their own course, right? On just helping people in that lines, you know what I'm saying? And especially when we're talking about social media and things like that, creating your own YouTube channel where you go on every week and you give a series on how to help people with that, you know, being healthy and things like that with juices and stuff like that. And I think because we're in a time and where content is king, and I think at this point to either to get any opportunity, you have to have the content out there. And so even if you're wanting to um, get with the partner with the organization or partner with the individual, they're gonna want to see what you've done.
Mm,
And that's where the content comes in, that is you sharing these tips and sharing these principles on how to do that. And with that, because they see that you not only have content, but they see that you're the expert. They see that you are the go-to, for that particular thing. And so that's gonna want to draw them quicker to them because now they can trust you. It's not just you doing it off a blank canvas. You have proof,
I agree.
and you can show them through your own life because you're sharing it with them. You know what I'm saying? And so it all goes back to that authenticity, that creativity, being authentic to who you are and what you're putting out. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing I would do is I would encourage people if you want to sell anything, like just give tips away,
Mm,
to still to the individuals. Give the my thing is adding value in the forefront
mm.
so that people are really wanting to compensate you on the back end. So it's always about value. It's always about being authentic. And when they see that value, when they see that you're authentic to what you're giving them, then they're going to be more drawn to buy from you what you're selling.
Mm. I think you're speaking truth there. I mean, people want to have value when they see something. It's just like you see a commercial, like, in that 30-second sort of spiel or minute or however time frame a person's been given, you have to sort of like give them those nuggets in that particular time space so that the
Oh
person say,
yeah,
I want more or I want to get more. Now, in your realm that you have, it is a very, very sort of a grueling fight
hmm
to not only gain customers, but also to brand yourself. Let's say I'm, coming out with an idea of having a company in the middle of sort of a
yeah,
I would say this is most technological year it's ever been in the past couple of years.
yep,
But most businesses now, brick and mortar is not always gonna always be the winner these days, unless you have sort of an established
yep,
history. So
yep,
people are wanting that's very quick, fast, in a hurry. You pick up the person's needs. What
yep.
has kept your company here in this landscape in 6 months that you haven't folded? Because I know a lot of times some businesses now, you know, they're folded within 90 days because they thought they had a great
Yeah,
idea, or they always say pre-pandemic, or they say post-pandemic, but they understand
yeah,
their ideas come and gone. So how are you able to stay
yeah.
afloat these 6 months?
So, one for me, man, I think because it's authentic to who I am, I can withstand and stand in it. My thing is, if you're doing something that is not authentically you, then it's going to be easier to sway and to for things to crumble when and with early on, or too early, because you're not authentic with who you are and the thing that you're doing. So for me, it's always been authenticity. Um, because with the content I put out, me putting out content, like I love to do that. You know what I'm saying? I love to help people on creating content. I love to help people on video editing. I love to help people to gather these ideas on how to get their message out there. Like that's something that I love to do. And then also, some people are just not consistent to
Mm,
see it through. It's one thing to start, but then it's a whole another thing to remain consistent and resilient in that process. And so, again, it's about being authentic, because that's the ground. That's what keeps you grounded, is when you're authentic, and then being consistent in who you're authentic in, and what you're authentic in. And so, if you have a brand and things like that, if you have this concept, this brand that you want to do, it has to be authentic to who you are. So you have to, it just has to be part of my, the teacher, because when I'm talking with people, I'm always in that moment. I'm always in that space, because in that time she sparked something in me. And so when I'm in those conversations, I'm looking to do the same thing to somebody else because it was done to me. And
mm,
then thereby it allows me to be consistent, because again, I'm going back to that space. So it's authenticity, man, and it's consistency. It's consistency. And that's why, you see during the pandemic, they had all of these different business, different brands started in the pandemic, and then afterwards you started to see like a decline,
mm-hmm.
right? And I feel like 65 to 70% of those businesses and those brands didn't pan out the way that they wanted to pan out, was because of those two things. They were missing those two aspects. One,
Wow.
for some, it may have not been authentic to who they are and what they're about. And then some is not consistent enough to see it through. And
Mm,
so that authenticity and that consistency has helped me to stay within this thing, man.
wow. Wow, you seem like you're hitting home runs with what you're saying. Final thought for us, because definitely we understand time is money and time is valuable. Uh, you mentioned what your company offers. Um, I want to give you this time to sort of speak to somebody who's looking for that particular spark to get them off. So I'm gonna let you get 2, 3 minutes to yourself. The floor is yours to talk to the people and tell them why they should come home with you.
Yeah, for sure. So what I do is, part of what I do when I'm sitting down with folks is to help them understand why they started what they started in the first place. Because initially, when they're going about the process and they experience challenges, we oftentimes forget why we started. And so, what I do and what I'm about, man, is helping people to go back to why they wanted to do the thing in the first place. What was their reasoning? Why? What was the spark for them, and to help them to gather that spark again. And so for me, when I'm sitting down with folks and helping them to, whether it's in content, whether it's branding, whether it's video editing, because I do that stuff, I do that as well, is to help them to go back to why, the why in which you do it. And so in order for any brand, any business to sustain, it's got to be about that why. Why are you doing it? Like, why have you started it? And also those that you're meant to help. And so one reason to work with me is because I go from that with the authenticity, but also with that why and who you're helping, and the fact that if you don't put it out there, if you're not consistent, if you don't remain resilient in what you're doing, then those that you're supposed to help is gonna miss out on the thing that you're supposed to do. And so for me, man, I would encourage folks, man, if you're going to work with me, that when you work with me, I will constantly remind you of the why of why you're doing it, because you're going to tell me anyway, and so, and you're going to get to that point where you're going to want to quit, but I'm gonna have to encourage you on that why, and then also with those that you're going to help. And so, that's part of what we do, man, and of course, helping people to with create that creativity, because it's about, especially when we get older, man, it's always a thing of, you getting older, it's life happens, but it's about, but the thing is like that creativity is always there. That little person, that little that little boy on the inside, it's always there. That little girl on the inside who had that dream, it was already there, and it's still there. It's just life has happened so much to us that it is overclouded that little boy, that little girl. But that little boy, little girl is going to be there. So no matter if you're your 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's still there. It's just a matter of, are you going to do what's necessary to bring that out? And that's what I do, bro.
Well, you heard it first, live here at the Logan Power Show. My man Kenneth Graham. Again, Affirm Creatives, something you want to have. If you want to find that why, then that's the why to be with. And I tell you right now, this is why you're here in the Logan Power Show, because we're nationwide, worldwide. We love you and we appreciate y'all. And thank you for tuning to another episode of the Logan Power Show. Nationwide, worldwide. We love you, family.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.